right, so we're going to get started because it's already 12:30, but we're going to allow the students to come in a little bit later as well. Last week, we had to change our TTR to online due to the storm, so we're hoping that we get more of the students join us for this Tuesday Times Roundtable. But let's get started. We have a wonderful panel today, and I want to welcome everyone to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable, Beyond Limitations, Striving Through Adapted Athletics. My name is Jenny Mendoza Farjun, and I am the Senior Program Coordinator for the Office of Global Learning Initiatives. We also have the Global Learning team in here. Our 2 graduate assistants are in the front, and also our program manager as well. The Tuesday Times Roundtable is the Office of Global Learning Initiatives' flagship discussion series that brings together multiple perspectives on global issues and trends, while we foster a conversation on topics that align to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are going to be microphones for our students, so if you have questions, just raise your hand, and then one of the graduate assistants is going to bring the mic to you to make sure that we capture the conversation as well in the recording. Also, let me just go to my next slide. Okay. We also have a partnership with the New York Times. So all Tuesday Times Roundtables are connected to an article so you can continue the discussion. And if you would like to read the one for this week, it is go.fiu.edu/TTR1015. If every FIU student, also faculty and staff, get free access. So if you haven't signed up for your subscription, you may do so at accessnyt.com. We also, as I mentioned, connecting to the Sustainable Development Goals. So the one that connects to this week, it is goal number 3, good health and well-being. This is to ensure that there is a healthy life and also to promote well-being for all. And if you would like to learn more about the SDGs, you may go to go.fiu.edu/SDG. A friendly reminder to the Global Learning Medallion students, make sure that you do a screenshot of your sign-in, and also you follow us on Instagram. This QR code is going to take you to the Instagram. And now I had the great pleasure to introduce today's panel. It is Nirvana Project, a wonderful organization that I had the honor to volunteer with years ago, but they're very close to my heart as well. We have here also the founders, which is Ruth and her husband, so thank you for being here with us. And we have a wonderful panel that is going to be sharing more about their stories. This organization promotes adaptive sports and also transmit happiness and generate smiles by building a community. Today's moderator is going to be Sergio Andres Robelto. Sergio is the ambassador for Nirvana Project. He was born in Colombia and moved to the United States in 2011. After finishing school, he began working and building his career. In 2017, Sergio suffered a severe spinal cord injury from an accident, which significantly impacted his life. Despite the challenges, he has been diligent, working towards regaining movement and continuing to live a fulfilling life. Through his journey, Sergio remains determined and resilient, sharing his experiences and progress with his community through his mission. So help me, everyone, to welcome Nirvana Project and Sergio.
Thank you, guys, and good afternoon for having us here. It is a pleasure to be here to just kind of share what we do in our everyday lives and to share a little bit of what we do with Nirvana. So I think to start off the presentation, if Neri, can you show me how do I do this? Just press the red. Perfect. Awesome. So we're just gonna start this presentation by just, if you are ever have the time to volunteer, there's different ways that we could do so. And so, again, our name is Nirvana Project, and we're here to show you a little bit of what we're able to accomplish through adaptive sports or through just movement in general. And I'm not going to introduce everybody because we're gonna do so at its own time. So first of all, I just wanted to kind of break the ice a little bit and ask you how you guys are doing, how you guys are feeling. So before we do that, we're just gonna take a little breath. We're just gonna do a little bit of a stretch. I know you guys probably have been sitting and been in school here for just half of the day. So let's just take a big inhale. We can do this 3 times. So it's gonna be inhale, 1, and exhale. Now you can just bring both hands up, and then down. We can move it again. We can just your shoulders, kind of shake it off. And if anybody's comfortable, honestly telling us how you're feeling today, please feel free to do so. How are you guys feeling? If you guys want to introduce. Excited?
Nervous.
Nervous is good. Okay. So anybody knows what Nirvana means, or anybody has an idea of what?
Oneness. Isn't it oneness? It comes from like Sanskrit.
Yeah, I would. You can have the microphone right there.
Oneness, right? It comes from Sanskrit. It's one of the like mantras or something of.
It is one of the meanings actually. Yes. For us in Nirvana, it just means a state of complete liberation from ego or from all the things that happen in your life. So it's just a full kind of fulfillment of the spiritual, physical well-being. And that is what we feel when we're together or when we're doing races, when we complete that finish line. I think for us, that we have kind of a challenging or different lives than most people, then it is every word to be there and then just to feel that freedom. That's what Nirvana is for us. So again, my name is Sergio Robelto. I am 30 years old. I'm from Colombia. I have been here since I was 17, and when they introduced me, I was introduced to hospitality right after high school. I did that for a little bit, and then I was introduced to the business world. I was working with a company that used to do sales and used to do a little bit of financial assistance. All my life, I like to do sports and extreme things. I did skateboarding. I did BMX growing up. I think one of my close friends actually I met through motorcycles. I still love to ride motorcycles. That's one of the things that I was passionate about, motorcycles, cars, and a few other things. Then in 2017, I was about 22 years old. I was about to be sometime about 5 years in the States, kind of just getting the hang of being an immigrant, getting a career, just getting a job, just kind of getting things better. And then, boom, unexpectedly, I had a motorcycle accident that left me with an incomplete spinal cord injury. And for those that don't understand what a spinal cord injury is paraplegia. And then depending on that level of injury in your spinal cord or the vertebrae, you could be a quadriplegic, a paraplegic. There's different variations. But since day one, I think I always thought about life goes on. Life always has a meaning, whether it's just traumatic events that happen in life, you can still be able to survive that and just, I don't know, just have a good life. And then for me, at the beginning, since the beginning, I think it was definitely sports, a way out for me to get out of depression. So since day one, I was very stubborn to do physical therapy, to do adaptive sports. So maybe 3 months after injury that you have spine precautions for 6 months, I had to get a doctor's kind of waiver clearance to be able to do adaptive sports. And I joined hockey. So the ICU and the rehabilitation part of the whole thing was very crucial, but we're not physical therapists here, so I'm not gonna go into deep into that, but that was a crucial time where I learned what I was able to do at home and where I was not able to do at home. But sports kind of gave me that confidence of meeting people that had more experience than I did, because I was recently injured. And I met with sled hockey. There is the only one sled hockey team in South Florida, and it's in Lake Worth, and it was worth it. It was a big commitment to go there and just kind of have a lot of time. But thanks to hockey, thanks to being able to meet with a lot of people, I was able to, one time, they had a conference in Hialeah for adaptive sports, and they sent me as a part of the team that I speak Spanish. I was the only one, and since it was that area in Hialeah on Doral, that's actually where I met them. That's where I met Ruth. That's where we kind of connected, exchanged information that I was doing hockey and they're doing races, and since then I think it's been the story. So Nirvana actually has been one of the fundamental parts for me since the beginning, because it helped me be active how I was before. I had skateboarding, I had motorcycle wheels, but now I have this different kind of set of wheels, but I still find my way to be active since then, since that first, I think it was July 4th or right before that, in 2018, I just got hooked and I started rolling. And for me, it's not necessarily the medals, but the miles that I'm able to eat. So for me, it's just, if you see me rolling on the races and you see me passing the able-bodied people, it's just kind of me eating miles and eating people while as I'm going. It's just my goal. It's not necessarily medals, it's just how many people I can pass. Recently, I'm playing wheelchair basketball for, there's two kind of local teams, the Miami Heat Wheels, which, because they don't have a lot of people, their league is not going to the tournaments or stuff. So I would say that the team that is settled down is the Sharks, the Fort Lauderdale Sharks, and that is sponsored by the Memorial Hospital. I am a part of the D3 and the D2 team. It's a pretty decent team. D1 is one of the top 5 in the country, and the other ones are getting better. So it is just a great way to kind of get yourself out there in the community, meet other people again that have different abilities as you, or that are really close to similar experiences, maybe the same injury level, maybe the same way that it happened, how it happened. So it's a way for you to get out of your mind and isolation, and then use that towards the advantage of life. And also today, just to kind of conclude what I do is, thanks to my family, thanks to the people that have supported me through this journey, I went to school for personal training and I graduated recently. So I'm kind of transitioning now to being an athlete, but also a coach. So I'm coaching one-on-one sessions, group sessions, and I'm kind of also taking over the adapted athletes here in Miami. So we train at Elevation Fitness, we train outside, and I train them basketball team. And hopefully with Nirvana, we're gonna create a new program where athletes are just not doing races, but we have an adaptive program where they can recover, they can move better instead of just kind of going through their day. So it's just cool to see the transition of where I began to where I am now, that I'm still a part of Nirvana, but on a different part of Nirvana. So thank you guys again for the time. I think now, that was my point, not to talk about a little bit of me, because we are going to meet each one of them better, their stories. And I would like to start with Josue Moreno, which is one of my good friends here. And
hello, everybody. My name is Josue, and I'm from Honduras. My story is that 12 years ago, I had an electrical accident in Honduras. So I was working, and I was fixing an internet connection, and I had a metal pole in my hands, and I didn't see a power line. So I made contact with the power line, and it burned almost 40% of my body. And due to the severity of my injuries, they had to amputate both of my hands and my right leg. After my accident, I thought that I was gonna die, because I couldn't move, I was in a lot of pain, and I was very afraid for my life. But thanks to my insurance, I had a really good insurance, and they flew me from Honduras to Miami. So that's why I'm still alive, because in my country, they just gave me 24 hours, And I think that one of the things that really helped me during my recovery was sports. And I tried a lot of sports because before my accident, I used to play a lot of soccer. But, you need 2 legs to play soccer. So I had to look for a new sport. So I just fell in love with swimming, and it gave me back my confidence. And I went to a lot of races around the country. I had the opportunity to practice in the Olympic Training Center with a lot of Paralympians, and one of my main goals is to go to the Paralympics for Los Angeles, the next ones. And I had a really fast recovery considering all of my injuries, because I think that during that moment when I was in the hospital, I never missed a day of therapy. I was in a lot of pain, and I had 3rd and 4th degree burns, and I used to bleed a lot. I was in a lot of pain, I was crying, but I never stopped from going to therapy, and I think that's one of the things that really made a difference, because I wanted to be independent, and the way that I once was before my accident. So I knew that doing therapy will help me a lot. So, and at the end, I just want to say that a lot of people, every time they see me, they come and talk to me and say that I admire you, because I don't think that I would have been able to do what you just have done, But I tell everybody that when we're put in the hard situations, we bring out the best in ourselves, and that you should believe in yourself, and never, because most of the time, we are the ones putting our limits and not believing in ourselves. So just set your goals and never look back, and don't dwell in the past. That's it.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you. And he's actually one of the partners for me to do relays. So, of course, it's harder for him to do maybe the triathlons. So I'm able to partner up with him, and he swims. He's probably faster than me in water.
I am.
But I'm able to get on the hand cycle and then just do the hand cycle for him. So it's cool ways to kind of create a team and still do what we love. So
in our triathlons, I do open water swimming. So it's harder. It's hard. A lot harder than swimming pool.
You're kind of underestimating everything they do, guys. I'm going to have to talk at the end and tell you guys.
And if you guys have any questions or thoughts, this is interactive. So I know we can go ahead, and we can definitely stop, because I know at the end we're gonna have questions, but it is better just to get to know each other. Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Ruth. Okay, so I guess thank you for your story, first of all, both of you. And you learned how to swim after your injury?
I knew how to swim before my injury, but I never took swimming as a sport. I knew how not to drown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I never learned.
How to not die in the water.
Yeah, exactly. I never knew the strokes, but once after my accident, I learned. I do all the strokes: fly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle.
Oh, wow. My second question is, I know that sports was kind of like your outlet. I guess this would go to everybody on the panel, as far as for family and support, because I know you all kind of went through, or may have went through depression, and it's how the family, sometimes we feel guilt. How is it, do we go to therapy? How can we as family or friends be there to be able to support you all?
Who wants to take it? I have something to say, but
Chris.
I would say family to me is the most important. In my case, they were there for me when I was down and out. I lost a lot, but my family was always there. And because of them, they took me out of that darkness, showed me that light to get out of that darkness. And for me, family is the most important in order for recovery. Those that don't have family, you can always have peers like ourselves, people in the community that will help you out. There's a lot of programs in Miami-Dade and Broward and South Florida that would also help you out if you don't have those resources. But to me, family is definitely one of the important things.
Yeah, also for me too, and I would say that to family members just to be patient, because I remember when after my accident I was very mad at my family members for no reason, I remember I was trying to do something on my own. They were trying to help me, and I would get mad on them. And sometimes when they were not there to help me, I would be mad too. So just be patient.
yeah, for me, I would say showing up for anybody that has somebody that maybe a friend is show up, because isolation is a big thing in the disabled community, and that actually has taken a lot of people. So it's just showing up the way that you're able to physically, emotionally, any way that you can show up. And with this, we're going to introduce, so thank you for the question. We're going to introduce my friend Christian. So strength doesn't come from what you can do, but it comes from overcoming the thing that you thought once you couldn't.
Thank you, Sergio. Good afternoon. My name is Christian Valle. I was born in Puerto Rico, but raised in Miami, 305 boy. And I'm a para-athlete for Nirvana project as well. I'm an advocate for disabilities, love to fight for my people, for my rights as well. So that's why I'm here. I appreciate for you guys to invite me into this roundtable with my friends and peers that I know for years. I know Josue maybe about 10 years. Yeah, me and him, we did the first program in swimming, and he talked to me before this, and he's like, remember we were in the pool? I was like, yeah, man, long time, brother, 10 years. And he's always going to be my brother because we've been through thick and thin. He's my boy. Well, for me, my entire life, being a father was like a dream for me. And the reason why is because, I had one that I looked up to so much, my stepdad. I didn't even know he was my stepdad until I was about 7 years old because, he showed me so much love and his family took me in. So my dream was just being a family man, and I had everything. I got married, I got a job, I had a house, everything was looking, I was getting ready to have kids with my wife, and life throws you curveballs. Unfortunately, I got in a real bad car accident, and I suffered a T12 L1 injury. I don't remember the accident at all. I remember waking up with my family around me, and they told me that they airlifted me to Jackson. What could I say? Being there at that position, I was in shock, but I knew that it was something that could be traumatized, that can take you down. For me, I had to be strong. And that's where resiliency comes with this injury. I was in Jackson Memorial, and in Jackson Memorial, they had me for about 2 months as an inpatient. Being an athlete as well, just like my friends, I played soccer, boxed, baseball, anything, any sport you give me. So I was an active guy. I thought to myself, maybe a month or two, I'll be up back in my feet walking again. But that wasn't the case. Reality hits. The doctors tell you, hey, you have this condition. Most likely you're not going to be able to walk. You probably won't be able to have kids. Your life is going to change. I'll never forget they gave me a pamphlet, like a booklet, of how to live your life as a paraplegic. And maybe I did the wrong thing, but I threw it in the trash because I was just upset at that point because, here's a manual how to live your life. I don't think nobody gets those manuals. Here's a book how to live your life. And it was really sad. I was in that place in the darkness. Pretty much my wife left me at the time, lost my job, lost my independence, lost all my friends as well. But from there, my family told me, we gotta pick up the pieces, Chris. And they were there for me. For me as well, is one of the things that you have to admit is about what happened. You have to accept what happened and adapt to it. And that's what I did. I started joining into programs from South Florida. I did hand cycling. I swam with Josue, also of the city of Miami. I started playing wheelchair basketball. Anything, even dancing, anything that was available for me, I had to do it in order to get me out of the bed and not wither away, because that's one of the main things. You have to take care of yourself physically and also mentally, because if you don't have a support or a crutch, or you don't help yourself, you're gonna just stay in that bed and give up on yourself. And luckily with my community and also with the Nirvana project, I met them through the hand cycling. From there, we were able to do marathons, races. I was able to meet all my other friends here as well on the panel. And one of the main things is that I found love. I found my current wife, and it was through a family friend. And from there, she accepted me for who I was. And we've been together for about a good 9 years. She had a daughter. And when she told me, hey, is this going to be a problem with you? I told her, no. I come from a dad that was my stepdad. So I think God showed me, like, hey, this is paying it forward. So I took her in. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm happy how I am. I got my wife, I got my stepdaughter. We were planning to do IVF at the moment. Everything was starting to work. We were gonna go on a trip. Maybe about a week before that trip to Italy, I found out that my wife was pregnant.
I'm sorry, what's IVF for people to...
In vitro.
Or basic words, how can you, for people that can't understand what it is?
Well, pretty much they do a check on you to see if you're able to have kids. And for our case, people with spinal cord injuries, the chances of you having kids are slim to none. But I just kept being a good husband, a good dad, and I was blessed by God. Like, honestly, he gave me the opportunity to be a dad. And right now I got a 8-month-old, about to be 9 months. And every time I see him, like, I always think to myself, yesterday I could have been one of those guys, one of those signs that say, rest in peace, right off the turnpike of the Palmetto. That could have been me. My mom, my family would have been sad. But now I look at my son and I'm like, man, like, this is what it's all about. You know, and I love being a full-time dad. That's my job now. From 7 to 6, I take care of him, and I wouldn't trade her anything in the world. And I would definitely recommend to anybody that if you're in hard times, reach out to your friends, your family, us here on the panel. Even if you're not disabled, you know, just have somebody that's gonna help you out for what you need. And you know, now I still play wheelchair basketball, still do activities. It's kind of hard to come out when you're a dad. Like, I have no time at all taking care of a little one. Everybody's like, you've been Ghost Christian, but honestly, I just been that.
I tell him, I'm sorry.
And that's all I want to say. You know, thank you for inviting me in this panel, and just always remember, guys, that love, family, and parenthood is something that we sometimes take for granted. In my case, I love being a dad, and I'm gonna be a dad until the wheels come off, literally. Thank you, guys.
And with this, we kind of continue with the same parenthood and kind of family-oriented type of vibe. So thank you, Chris, for sharing your story. And we continue with Diana, which is also a badass mom. I think I have a lot of respect for her. So please, Diana, continue with this beautiful presentation.
Thank you, Sergio. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Chacon. I am an actress, a speaker, and mother of 2 boys. And 3 years ago, I would have to walk in here. But after COVID, I lost the ability to move my legs, and I had serious cognitive issues, which to this day still challenge me every day. So for example, today, my challenge is to do this presentation in English, because I might sound a little bit like Sofia Vergara, and sometimes I am Dory. You remember the Disney movie Find Nemo? Yeah, so sometimes I am Dory. But anyway, I am here to share my story with you. So when I say pandemic or COVID-19, what do you think? For some people, it means losing family members, friends, or businesses. It was a time of mental and emotional exhaustion for many, while for others, it was a time of economic prosperity. And they maybe even wish it come back because they have told me on social media. But the reality is, most people don't know the term long COVID. Long COVID is multiple symptoms, which is my condition. I am a survivor of COVID-19, and my long-term effects were, and some still are, number 1, inability in my legs. Many doctors describe is something like a typical Guillain-Barré. And number 2, weakened immune system. And number 3, very heavy for me, short-term and long-term memory loss. Yes. Which means I didn't remember my close family, my friends, or for example, what I had for breakfast. The only people that I remembered were my close family, for example, my mother, my sister, my father, and my children. And the after effects not only affect me because I was mentally absent. So my family who had to carry the emotional burden. And I don't know exactly when I started to become aware of my situation. I think might have been 4 or 5 months after I start to some sessions with my neuropsychologist, and she gave me a cognitive test and suggested looking for alternatives within my profession, because my profession is actor, and what is the tool of the actor? It's the memory.
Remember.
So, wow, it was shocking time. And that was when I had vulnerable. And I choose to be learned in this process and don't feel like a victim. One living, one day at a time, with very gratitude. Because if I am alive, there must a big greater purpose. And the greater purpose for me is to be an example of discipline, faith, resilience, and more to my children. So when I understood that, my life changed. And I started taking a podcast course and learning once again, tell stories, reading comprehensions, and many elements that help stimulate my memory. In other words, it's a process of neuroplasticity. So with difficulty, I finished my first episode, but telling connect me with people going through the same process, and I feel I was not alone, and I found a support network. So the consequence about that, I started getting interviews on television and radio to talk about my situation, and also I have an opportunity to return on television and play a beautiful character in the telenovela Vuelve a mí. Los que son fan de William Levy, cubano. So that's, for me, was incredible experience. And I becoming the first actress in Miami to be hired in the wheelchair for the Telemundo network. So, yeah. And I also made a short film about my story, which was nominated for an Emmy Award. We didn't win, but being nominated is, oh my God, that means a lot to me. Yeah. At the same time, through friends that I interview on my podcast, I connect with the Nirvana project organization. And wow, I remember my first time doing the 5K with help of volunteers. And wow, you can imagine. It was a feeling of freedom. The wind hitting my face, and I was really running. And it was a soul connection when my legs to the back seat. And that moment made me see the disability from another perspective. And I always tell the people, please, don't look at disability from what we lack, but from what we are capable of achieving. The adaptation is essential skill for everyone. The strategies and approaches can vary significantly between a person with disability and someone without disability, due to different challenges and resources is available. But I feel that Nirvana Project Organization understand what this means, because they go beyond promoting adaptive sports, and they are the bridge with us, the facilities and personal growth, rediscovering all potential, building confidence, and maintaining healthy habits. So today you can see it in action, not just words. They allow me to share my story with you beyond my physical and dirty limitations. So in my interviews and talks, I always talk about the importance of having vitamin people in whatever process, because they draw us to move forward They good attitude is very contagious, and they help us to see the positive sides of difficult situations, and the likelihood of negative toxic thoughts decreases. So for me, Nirvana project is a multivitaminico. So right now, my situation has improved so much, and the adaptive sports have been the key to my recovery. Obviously, also my physical therapy and otros tratamientos, but I feel about 90% recovered. And I know I will be working again soon, but my other purpose is, that means I will be able to volunteer in Nirvana project because they want to help others just like they have helped me. So in conclusion, the pandemic obviously transformed our lives, but it's our choice to focus on the positive and learn from our experience, grow stronger, and the most important, grateful to the present. The present. Thank you so much.
No, you're good. Thank you, Diana. This was let's see. Oh. How do I play an airy? Maybe this one? Just a short video. Yeah. Yes, thank you. This would be the time.
So especially to the parents, and I know we still haven't heard some more stories, so any of the parents. Watching your children grow up and like learn things and have those aha moments and figure things out for themselves is like one of the most rewarding things that anyone can experience. In your particular context, was there a moment that stands out in your memory where that happened about your child understanding your ability and your situation in your context that changed the way that you see them?
Creo haberte entendido. My kids, always I'm happy girl. So that's very important. And always my essential is very positive. Maybe es algo, un plus for me. So they see your mom with, no. Go ahead. You can do it. No, attitude. What happened? So the more example is discipline, attitude, resilience. No hay chance de ellos, oh my God, my mom will come back. No lo tienen en su mente. Thanks God.
Yeah, I would say as well to add to that is, I took in my stepdaughter when she was about 4.5, so she was still little. Mm-hmm. And growing up, she didn't get it till she was like 6 or 7. But it came to the point that she's like, Dad, I wish I was in a wheelchair too, because you're so cool. and in those moments, they tear you up, but it brings you back to why you're there for. You're there to be a care. A lot of people say that, hey, but Chris, how are you gonna take care of a kid? You can. When there's a strength from will and love, you can do it. As well with the little one, when I see him standing up, he just started to stand up and take a couple steps. I think about wow, he's using 400 and something muscles to stand and walk. And that's something that I was struggling with in therapy. And now that I see my son do it, it's like, hey, even though I'm in the chair, one day I'll walk again. But to see him stride and have no issues and be healthy, I can't complain.
Of course, yes, of course. No.
I have 3 questions for you guys.
Go ahead.
Especially since you were speaking about having memory issues after having COVID, it's kind of considered like an invisible illness. So I was wondering, across the board, but especially for those with invisible illnesses, how have you best found the way to advocate for yourself when it's not physically present, but you still have issues, for instance?
tu pérdida de memoria, si eso es como una incapacidad invisible, ¿cómo haces como para...?
Oh, yes, it's very invisible. So it's so hard for me because the legs is very visible and the people say, oh my goodness, Diana, you walk again soon, you positive, etc., etc. But when it's the memory,
¿Qué haces para crear conciencia de ello?
is so hard. And I always tell the people patience and empathy because in the world, your work is the same, es la misma situación. Some brain fog is existing today. And yo digo que todos tenemos un Dory. Everyone have a Dory, a little bit, but no. So, para crear conciencia, digo que es la empatía, empathy. Empathy for the process de whatever person que esté pasando por eso.
I mean, I don't have an invisible disability.
You have more questions.
Yeah, also the way that you speak and present, it's very obvious that you're an actress. You give a lot of energy.
Thank you.
And then my second question is for those of us that don't have somebody with a disability that can be a role model for our siblings, our younger siblings, for instance, how should we best have discussions about preventing ableist ideas and making sure that everybody understands that a disability isn't really a disability, you know? With young kids, for instance. How
I think
should
I'll
we go
take
about
that.
it?
So I'm one of the volunteers for Nirvana project, and I think the best thing you can do for siblings or family members or your own kids is help them volunteer. We'll tell you how through Nirvana, but it could be through any other organization. But the good thing about Nirvana is you can do it as a family. Like if you have a sister, a young sister, you and your young sister can come to a 5K and help push one of them. And without saying any words, you'll see the amount of lessons that they will have from there. And you can have them, ask them questions, come to them, ask them questions, what do you have? I think normalizing it is the best thing you can do for them and for them as well. So I think just volunteering since little. My son thought he had autism because I worked with children with autism my whole life, and since little, he would come to the camps and he would go to all the activities that we would do at the Center for Autism. And he literally at 6, he said, Mom, do I have autism? Like he had no idea, he didn't understand what it was. And a lot of people also actually till this day ask me, like, what disabilities does your son have? And I was like, no, I mean, it's just that I connected since very young with that cause. And I think it's a beautiful thing because it teaches them so much. So much. We'll talk a little bit more. I hope that helped.
And also ask the uncomfortable questions, because I think the most uncomfortable conversations are the one that, for me, the one that are more beneficial. So just asking those awkward questions are good.
Yeah, and I just had my last question was for people that have friends and family that are in wheelchairs, what is the best tips for finding accessible spaces? Like those for wheelchair accessible, those with crutches, what's the best way to find spaces that everybody can enjoy?
You gotta advocate and go to your government or go anywhere and fight for your rights. There's been a lot of situations that I learned in my 10 years in the chair that, you know, if you don't fight for your rights and speak up and say something, nothing's gonna happen. And that's why we're here to help out others. If you have a friend or family that's in the same situation, you know, come up to bat for them, help them out, or show them the way. Also with YouTube and internet, just so a lot of resources and things that you can pick up from.
I know Miami-Dade parks also, there's some, each park will have what they have for accessibility. And like, for example, for the beach, I know you probably will talk about it. Like there's certain days that are accessible, like to all the wheelchairs, and they have extra wheelchairs. Well, he'll say more about that. Yeah. But I think that the parks will be a great way to find resources. And not be afraid to ask, like even in private places. And if you see something that's not right in some of the places, like I speak up and say, hey guys, you should add a ramp here or things like that. So.
if we can hold that thought, and then I'm going to introduce my friend. Yes. Okay, so thank you guys for the questions, and we're going to continue with Steven. I think Steven is somebody who will teach us how do we actually advocate, because he is out there in the community a lot, and probably it's very interesting for me because, as you can see, I mean, we can see the difference of how able I am, and he is really out there making a difference in the community. He's always advocating, creating programs with people, and with the adapted beach programs, with fitness programs, and he's always volunteering. So please, Steven.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. My name is Steven Ruiz. To introduce myself, I am 31 years old. I have been living with quadriplegia for about 9 years now, with a level of injury on the cervical, C5, C6. I am complete. For example, I cannot really move my fingers and a lot more, and have stability problems, and compared to Sergio over here. I consider myself to be a very optimistic person. I always look at the positive during bad situations. I love giving my time and giving my hand when possible, helping hand. And I also like to challenge myself, as I see this as a method of growth. I do believe this. I have been participating in the past years in multiple activities, talking as a guest speaker in universities, and volunteering with non-profit organizations or helping professors. The way my accident happened, it was in Atlanta, Georgia, where I ended up falling asleep after a late night shift. I was driving, so I fell asleep and I hit a light post. And that same night, I was operated on, and sorry guys. I was operated on, and I had a spine fusion done on me successfully. I don't really have much memories from my recovery back in the hospital, except for a few flashes. I went to rehab right after in the Shepherd Center, where I spent about 4 months inpatient and 1 month outpatient. I remember that during this time, I didn't really want to integrate myself socially because I couldn't even eat myself. I noticed that people were staring at me, and I didn't really like that. And I had a lot more challenges. And then I moved to Miami. It took me about 3 to 5 years to become independent to a certain point. I ended up overcoming all those challenges, took up on new challenges, went to school. I ended up graduating in cybersecurity as bachelor's, and up to this day, I'm still with the wheel of much more success. So I'm still going. Yeah, thank you. And so I've been with Nirvana for about 2 years now, and this has been a great improvement for me, both physically by becoming stronger as they push me to get stronger. And they push me to get farther on my limits, which I was very surprised. And mentally, emotionally, as we always have fun moments, and receiving that human affection that a lot of us don't think it's needed sometimes, but it really is. And these improvements are possible due to the people that they have, and the experiences that we get from a community that wants to support us. And basically, I never thought that me living with quadriplegia will be running 5Ks or even have marathons. And basically, Nirvana to me is doing the unthinkable possible. So I want to give you a quick thank you, guys, personally. And thank you. Yeah, there are a group of people that have helped me overcome many challenges, offer me inclusion and good moments. What else? Let me see. So my thought that I would share to someone who sorry guys, I'm gone for a minute. So yeah, there's basically having a sorry. So I thought that I would share with someone who is a recent injured is that go ahead, join a community. You will have better life. Become socially inclusive and learn from those with more experience. So I would recommend get into a local group, maybe your local support groups or others where there's people with more experience, with few years post-injury. They for sure have learned many, if not all, the shortcuts. They can guide you where the resources are or give you tips on how to improve your life post-injury. So just to close it over here, with two quotes, one from my inpatients, PT. She used to tell me, the best is yet to come, which I learned as I was progressing. Totally true. And one of mine, that life doesn't end after a spinal cord injury. Nothing is impossible, I just take extra steps. So thank you guys again for having me, and thank you.
Thank you, Steven. And I know that over there in the screen, if you see the slide, it says empower individuals with spinal cord injuries, but it really is just for all diagnosis. The resources for support groups that every hospital has support groups for people who have dementia, Parkinson's, spinal cord injuries, amputees, strokes. There is a ton of resources that people can use. So if you know anybody that is struggling or that feels some type of way of alone or just isolation, you can definitely either just let them know, reach out to somebody from Nirvana, or tell them that their local hospitals definitely have those resources that they can use. Because the physical is good, but we also want to make sure that our mental state is always on point, because our body will not go. Honestly, sometimes there's days that I don't even want to roll, so it's just my daily battle of, okay, I gotta get up, and I just get in the chair, and that's my way to just, because sometimes I'll wake up early and then keep on sleeping, but no, my daily battle is getting up on that chair and then defeating that day. So there's definitely the resources, and last but not least, definitely is a big part of what we do, because without our volunteers, without the people that come to help us and give their time, their presence, because to me that's what I'm most grateful for, is their presence. Somebody that's giving you their time and their physical presence to be there with you, support you, is the one way that I can say why I do what I do now today, just to give back a little of what I received. So giving back to the community through volunteer, and a beautiful personal journey of my friend Mari Carmen, who is going to introduce herself and tell you guys about how it has impacted her life and her story, because she's an athlete, a volunteer, an advocate for a lot of things. So Mari Carmen, please take it from
everybody.
me.
Thank you. Bueno, thank you, Ruth, for having me here in honor and in name of all the amazing volunteers that work with the Nirvana project. All of you that are here. So it's an honor to be here. I'm gonna make my story short because I wanna make sure that you guys leave here knowing what and how to volunteer and come work with us and help us. So basically, I was an athlete my entire life. I've always competed professionally in my country, doing synchronized swimming. I studied psychology, so I worked with special needs for a long time, from over 20 years. And aside from that, I started doing triathlons here in Miami. And somebody asked me to one day, hey, would you swim in a kayak with somebody that has cerebral palsy? That was one in back in 2011. And I was like, what do you mean? Of course, I said yes right away. So I lived that experience where I had a kayak attached to my belly, and then you swim and you pull the person. And I was touched, and like my life completely changed because it was a mix of the special needs and sports, the two passions of my life. Everything before that was me getting the medal, me winning, me getting everybody, me, and it just became we. And I couldn't stop crying. I still can't that day, and I decided that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. So after that, I met the several organizations. There are about 3 different organizations that work throughout South Florida with different neurological disorders or different disabilities. But one day I discovered Nirvana, and it was a totally different organization. For me, it was a shock because I was used to doing triathlons, pulling an athlete on a kayak. Then they would hook the stroller to my bike, and then I would pull the person on the bike too. And then I would push in a stroller the person on the run, which is amazing, and they still have an amazing experience. But these people, man, they were completely different. They wouldn't let me touch them. I was like, okay, but how can I help? How can I help? The truth tell me, well, we have a girl that wants to do a triathlon. Her name is Claudia. She's right here. And they told me, we know you have experience doing this. I was like, oh, does she have a kayak? Does she have all the equipment? And no. She wants to swim. And I was like, how does she swim? Like, I want to know this. So I asked her to come to Key Biscayne with me to swim. And to my surprise, this girl was swimming faster than me, like a mermaid, literally like a mermaid. And that day, I truly discovered the power of focusing on their abilities and not their disabilities. Claudia is brilliant, like in every single way. And she has found ways of focusing on what she can do. So her parents had a great thing with that, like influence in that, because her parents put her since little in swimming lessons. So she swims like a mermaid. I put this thing on, and kind of like pull her. And then when she's tired, she rolls over. That's what we came up with, and I just feel like whoop, and then that means that she's getting a rest. Then after that, like we kind of find ways on doing, okay, so who could do the bike if she can't do it, and then in the run we found through grants, this is something else that you guys can find. There's foundations like the CAF foundations that they gave her a chair, and then she was able to push herself on the chair with her arms, and then me assisting her when she could. So that day, I really, honestly, during that time, I figured out that these people were completely different. They had gone through different stories, all these stories that still make me cry every time I hear them, because of the passion and the dedication and the determination that they put on focusing on those things that they can do and trying to find a way of doing it. So then what we just did actually the first triathlon with Diana too, and this is her belt actually, and because it's totally the opposite of Claudia, and this is why I wanted to say it, because she uses this to lift her legs up, but she's super fast with the arms. So there's the opposite things, like where I have this on and then she had this on, and whenever she needed to rest, she would do the same. We come up with this roll over and then just roll over and rest, and then I would be like, oh, there she is, just resting. But the rest of the time, like, they truly propel me, not only with their arms or their legs, but they really push me through love and care. Like the amount of the connection that we develop with each one of them when we're volunteering for them is amazing. We've had the opportunity to kind of practice too. So we meet, like if some of you want to participate in the Miami Marathon, for example. So what we do is we meet several times so that you guys can meet them, listen to their stories, and also push them. And one of the things that I like to do is
try to catch up.
Try to catch up, exactly. So, because I can't run with Sergio. I needed a bike one day. There was a half marathon that she told me, oh, can you help with a half marathon? And I actually went on a bike. I couldn't run as fast as them. So I guess just my thing is, for those of you that want to help and volunteer, first of all, you think that you're helping them, but they're doing 3 times for you what you're doing for them. And I always keep telling them, just thank you for giving me this opportunity and giving me the chance to be with them, to get to know them, to learn from them, and to be motivated in life, in everything through them. So you guys can contact us. There's going to be a QR code. That QR code is for 2 reasons. We do crazy stuff. We do Spartan races too, guys. That was us rolling like a hot dog under that thing.
She's Claudia.
Yes, that was poor Claudia. We were like pushing her and like Ruth. So I mean, we have so much fun. It's really, really amazing. And the cool thing is that you can do it with your family members as well. So with that QR code that's going to come right after, here's all of our information. With that QR code that's coming, we're doing a GoFundMe for the Miami Marathon. For those of you that are anybody doing it here? A half marathon or anything? Well, we still have time. We have like 24 weeks in between. So you still can do a half marathon. And those of you that don't think like, no, I haven't done a 5K, believe me, we'll do it. We walk, we dance, we make it. Even if it's 3 hours, we make it. So if you want to try to do it with us, that would be amazing. But it's also a way, if you want to help in any way, you can also donate. We're looking for equipment for some of our athletes. Some of our athletes have wheelchairs that are really hard to push, and not only hard for them, but for the volunteers as well. So we're trying to find equipment for them. So this GoFundMe not only helps for races, but it also helps for equipment and for a lot of the things that the uniforms that they need. So all of that. Also, I mean, this is huge for me every time that I hear the little things that I learned from there. One of the things that I keep in mind always is one thing that Diana said once, and now she says that every time. It's she always opens her arms like this when like each one of them has their thing, but she always opens her arms like this, and then she says, inhaling blessings and exhaling gratitude, and that's what I think it's all about. Nirvana, it's all about just embracing the things that we can do and not looking at the things that we can't, and just being blessed and thankful and grateful for all the things that we can do. So.
Thank you so much, Nirvana, for always inspiring us with your stories, for all the amazing work that you do, the organization, the founders, and the vision and the mission behind it. It is always a pleasure to hear more about you and learn more about you. We are very thankful for this Tuesday Times Roundtable and for getting to know each of you more. And as Stephen mentioned, the best is yet to come.
Yes.
So we look forward to hopefully getting some volunteers. They do have their flyer at the front, and then you also had some here around the room. Just a friendly reminder, because I know it's already past 1:30. Next week we continue TTR in person, but the topic for next week is Your Voice Matters, a guide to informed voting. So we look forward to seeing you next week. I appreciate your time, your dedication, and thank you so much for inspiring us and to teach us as well that living a life that is limitless, it is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I had a question. I'm sorry. There's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Jorge. Just to give some background before I ask my question, I am a student here at FIU. I am a third-year student. I am a huge intersectional advocate. I have been doing advocacy for as long as I can remember. I am one of the founding members and the serving president of the Disabled Student Union Bureau here at FIU. In the past spring and fall, I was an SGA senator, and I was the University Sustainability and Innovation Chair, and I was the Rule and Administration's Vice Chair, along with being a College of Engineering and Computing senator. And I was actually a senator in this very room. And so I noticed that many of the people on this panel today are wheelchair users. And so I have, really two direct questions to ask is, how do you navigate an inaccessible world such as this very room where I have cried many a tears because of the lift that would not operate for me when the Senate comes, and all these senators are now staring at me to wait for Senate to start. How do you navigate that? Is it within a system, or is it against the system? Do you work within the system, or do you work outside of the system? Because I've worked in both. And my second question is, how do you educate non-disabled people of the inaccessibility to further the disability cause? And what I mean by that is, when I was bringing to administration the issue of the inaccessibility of this room, how do I get them to understand from a non-disabled, non-wheelchair, non-physical apparent disability of the inaccessibility that I'm facing, for them to recognize and for them to inquire and for them to assess and for them to come to a solution and implement that solution to fix the inaccessibility?
I got my intake for the first part. For both. Thank you for the question. So honestly, for me, when places are inaccessible, I'm just the type of person that you guys probably know me, that any place, I wouldn't say all the attention, but most places that you probably roll into, you're the person that gets the attention. So if that ramp would have not worked, I would have them carry me. I would have just, because I'm still gonna do me. If I've got anybody here and unfortunately the ramp didn't work, then I'm gonna just make sure that we can find 4 guys or 4 people that can lift me down, and the attention is gonna be on me. But that doesn't gonna stop me. Navigating, I know it's hard because of, I guess we're in 2024 and we have the ADA, but I think we also have to adapt to some situations. So, and I am from Colombia, so I think for me that's different, because I go there and Colombia or our countries are not very accessible. So for me being here, I feel privileged in a way. So I don't really complain about some places that are accessible because I live privileged life here being a wheelchair user. But the one thing that I would say for the second part of the question is definitely if you can have those able-bodied people that are in the program with you, or that are actually, the people that are making those changes, if you have an extra chair, or if you can have them be on that chair while they're doing those renovations, not just for the hour, not actually have them sit or navigate these spaces so that they can see those changes, I think that also can make a difference. It's sometimes uncomfortable, or sometimes people might not want to be in the position, but when you're able to kind of put them, just kind of put the light on them and be like, no, just live their experience, sit on the chair, see if you're able to go to the bathroom, because even sometimes the doors might be heavy. And I don't know, this one outside was easy, but sometimes doors can be heavy. So just having them sit on the chair, open some doors and tell them, hey, was it easy? Was it navigatable? Was it accessible? Just because it seems accessible, like most bathrooms have the bars, but just the bar doesn't necessarily make it accessible because you can't close the door. And some restrooms, mostly men's restroom, women's restroom are usually pretty big, but men's restroom, you have one stall, and then sometimes you can't close the door. So I do my things with the door open, because what am I gonna do? And there is certain things that we can, I guess, put people in.
One of the things I did, and when I was mentioning the beach day that they do once a month at Sabrina Cohen, then so they do once a month one beach day where they bring out chairs that anybody can use, and they put a tarp all the way to the beach. So one of the things I did, I was like, why is this not like daily? Why don't they have these chairs right next to the lifeguards every single day and leave them there? Because they're there sitting in a cuarto, in a shed. They have them in a shed, and they take out the carpets. And I'm like, why? And it's because they have to clean it. I'm like, well, you have the people and the staff there to take it and put it every day. So those are, that's just me. Like I got a chance to talk to them at City of Miami Beach. They haven't done it yet, but I guess we're going to keep pushing. But I mean, it's just keep pushing and keep talking and keep asking. And I think that's a good way of doing it. Like, well, try it. Try to go on the wheelchair to the beach.
Yeah, and also like firsthand testimonials. If you know anybody, they can actually show that person physically what they're going through. And again, all disabilities are different. Miami is kind of difficult to get around, but I don't complain. Like Sergio says, I have to get it done, because if there's a situation that if somebody parks right next to me and I can't open the door, I've been in that position many times, and you just got to go with the flow. You got to roll with the punches. Thank you, though, for advocating and fighting for our rights. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
especially
and someone without disability, with disability, is very creative, because the door, screaming, tuck, 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 or like snakes in the floor, no happen, no nada va a pasar.
And I would like to connect, so I would like to maybe see. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, everyone.